Gentleman from Ohio.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I yield 3.5 minutes to the gentleman from Florida, Mr. Steube.
Gentleman is recognized for 3.5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Guns are not the cause of evil. Just like the vehicle used by the domestic terrorist in Waukesha, Wisconsin, to mow down innocent people in a parade, killing 6, the vehicle used was not the cause of that evil. The person driving it was. Why are not the victims of that heinous act pictures being shown by the Democrats on the floor today, like those victims in Uvalde? Where was the left's cry to ban vehicles that killed those innocent lives in Waukesha? There are no cries to ban cars because that's not on the left's agenda. Banning guns is, and Democrats use these heinous crimes to further the long-sought-after political objective of disarming America. And many Democrats in this chamber have called for outright bans on certain firearms. There is a moral decay in our country that has been created by the left. They have torn down traditional institutions, took God out of our classrooms, and systematically destroyed the notion of traditional families and values. Just look at these numbers in a recent article from the Christian Post. 75% of most cited school shooters in America are fatherless. 60% of America's rapists grew up without fathers. 63% of teenagers who commit suicide don't have a father in their life. 72% of adolescent murderers are fatherless. The same was true for the murderer at Robb Elementary, and I could go on. Why isn't the majority talking about that? Why isn't the majority talking about solutions to have role models in our children's lives? Because that doesn't accomplish a political objective for them. This bill, nor any bill before us this week, will stop mass shootings. This bill won't even decrease gun violence, and the facts and evidence from the jurisdictions with similar policies in place makes that clear. Just look at any holiday weekend in Chicago and see how many people have been shot with many of these policies already in place. This bill is simply a step further to restrict the ability of law-abiding citizens to own firearms and defend themselves, while doing nothing to address the cultural rot that leads to these acts. This bill seeks to take the Second Amendment rights away from 18 to 20-year-olds by taking their ability to purchase a firearm. Comparing census data on the total 18 to 20-year-old population with DOJ data on violent crimes committed by that age group, and this includes violent crimes not involving guns, only 0.3% of 18 to 20-year-olds commit violent crimes in a year. When you look at murder, including murder without guns, only 0.013% of 18 to 20-year-olds commit murder in a year. So today, Democrats are going to take away the lawful right for 99.7% of adult Americans between the age of 18 and 20 for the acts of a few wicked people. Now think about that. So the daughter off to college, living by herself, can't buy a shotgun to keep in her home to protect herself against a rapist. All because 0.3% of that age group has committed a violent crime. The magazine limits in this bill are even more egregious because it affects all Americans in all firearms, not just rifles, and will effectively serve as a ban on most commonly used handguns. And as I demonstrated in the Judiciary Committee last week, numerous firearms that millions of Americans use every single day to protect themselves and their families could be rendered useless by a 15-round magazine limit and those 15-round magazine limits who have absolutely no effect on solving mass shootings. I will not yield. I urge my colleagues to stand for freedom, to stand for the Constitution, and to stand for the right of law-abiding citizens to defend themselves. And I yield back.